Right, welcome back. Today I've got wood, not what you're thinking. I have purchased from Leroy Merlin some of these fine, large bits of wood, which here in Spain are called listones. And with these, we're going to build a bed. Now, I don't know what I'm doing, so one of the things I've done is design the whole thing in Blender. So I learned Blender when I was moving into this flat, and I wanted to know what I could do with the flat. I designed this thing, and Blender is an incredible product. It's open source, it's completely free, and it helps you design these 3D things. Now, there's a load of YouTube tutorials which are far better than what I could explain. So if you're into that, I recommend watching it. So first I'm just going to show you the design, how I've thought about it, the measurements, and then we'll get into the plan of actually implementing that design. So let's go. Right, so what we've got here is our bed design. Now, I'll just go through some bits. So the colours, while they look airy-fairy, are actually, they mean something. In red we have the parts of the van that currently exist that I cannot move, so I have to build around them. So we've got the 2 pillars here. The rear of the van is on this side, and the front seats are here. And then we've got the battery, which is currently sitting here. I'm going to have to cut the pieces to the measurements. So with Blender, one of the great things is I can go into this transform menu and I can see the exact dimensions. So 44 by 44 are my 3-meter poles, and I'm going to need to cut them 1 to 292. These ones are a bit longer, so 332, 332. All these will be 332, 336, 332. So I'm going to cut them all down to that size using the jigsaw, which we learned the other day. Part of this bed design is that I have, so let's go and select collection 2. So part of the bed, in the van, we need to be able to move. This is going to be a sofa most of the time, and then a bed at night. And so one of the things is this is going to come in and it's going to go here. And so during the day it's a kind of bench, and then we can fold out and this will sit on top of here. And that's the plan. So this is the design. Now we need to get cutting the wood. So those sizes of wood are what I found on a supplier here in Barcelona called Leroy Merlin. It's a bit like the B&Q of the UK. I measured all of the lengths of everything I would need. So here we've got the 48 by 13, and I've got all of the different lengths I need. And then I've got the 38 by 9, which is the thin one, all of the lengths I need. So then I get total meters of the blue one. So if we remember, the blue one are these beams. And if I have the total meters, I have 5.4. Now they sell them in packs of 3 meters. So then I can do a calculation which is based on how many meters I need, 5.4, and how many you get 6 meters. So the total amount of the 3x3 units is 2, and the total number of that unit I need to purchase is 1. Now, I forgot to mention, we take safety very seriously on this channel. So now I've got my eye protection, head protection, air protection. I'm gonna put a hazmat suit on as well. Obviously, very dangerous to cut wood. So with these safety measures, I want to be keeping you safe. Very important to stay safe. Right, so we are ready to cut our first piece. We're going to go with the biggest one first because it's actually quite hard to maneuver the bit. So that's the bit that's highlighted in the center here. This is what we're going to cut first, which is, if we look over there, 1786 millimeters. So we've got our big 3-meter piece out here, which is quite awkward right now, and I can't put it on my desk properly. So we're going to cut the 1786, and then we should have some shorter piece to then make the other parts out of. So let's see how that goes. So as always, we need to measure twice, cut once. That's the rule, the golden rule I remember from school. So we've got our big pillar here, which is a bit beefy, and we've got 1786, so we've marked it there, and now we're going to perform the cut. So let's get on with that. Right, so if you remember from my last video, you normally want a jig to cut in a straight line, but it would be very hard to attach a jig to this. So I'm just going to draw the line and then follow it with the saw. At the end of the day, this is so short that I don't think adding a jig, I'm not even sure how I would add a jig. Perhaps I could attach this. You know what? Change of plan, we are going to add a jig. I now have proper clamps. So open that, put that, it's loosely on. So now we just need to measure how far our this gap here, make that clear. So the gap is from here to there, because then that's the line we're going to follow. There we are, lined up nicely. So now we just need to stick this on. Let me grab you so you can see what we've done. So the point of this was that you see these lines now. When I put this pushed up against that left side, our drill bit, which is right in the center there, should follow perfectly down the line of that we want to cut. That's the theory anyway. Let's give it a go. Safety. The edges have frayed a bit. I guess that's near the end, obviously. It's quite hard to do. That's not great, but we'll see. I think that can be fixed with the sander maybe. So now we're gonna have to do some maths because I didn't really think about this, but we get 3 meter length and I don't have loads of spare. So when I've just cut out this big 1786 part. I then need to cut out these parts, but obviously I only have 3 minus 1786 left. So what I'm trying to say is I need to maximize the number of bits I can get, because I'm always going to be left over with something. But I want to use as much of the wood as possible. So now we need to use this last part, which is the leftover, and we want to see how many bits we can get. It looks like maybe 3 could fit in here. Right, I've worked it out. So we're going to do 2 of the 232s and 2 of the 344s, which are these. So, and that will give us 48 left over, which is 5 centimeters, and that's, enough to be optimal. So that should give us almost perfect usage of this 3 meter bar. Right, I've made a decision here to clamp the thing to the bit that's going to fall off. I'm not sure whether that's a good decision because this whole thing's going to fall off. But jigging it on the other side would have been weird. Let's see. Goggles on. Yeah, I'm really not liking the finish of these cuts. They're pretty untidy. I don't know if that's normal. I'm now going to speak to AI and see if that's what's supposed to happen. Probably normal, but let's see. Right, we spoke with AI. It says it does make some good points. So one thing I can do is put some painter's tape, some masking tape, over that end bit that's going to cut, and it should keep it tight. I should also bind both sides. So in this case, I had this hanging over here with no support, and it says that that's a terrible idea. So I need to support both sides. So we might be going back to the chair system, and I could clamp to the chairs. So yeah, I've had a bit of an idea of how to make this better. So throughout this project, I need to cut a shitload of wood, and I'm gonna have this problem over and over again. So I think if I cut here, a cutout, and I can always clamp on this side and then cut using the jigsaw through that gap, making this table properly a woodworking table. Now I just need to figure out how I'm gonna, I don't know whether, with the jigsaw, I guess I can curve. I can do a curve like that, because I can't really do straight lines. I could do a straight line here and a straight line here, but then I wouldn't be able to get the blade in that way, unless I drill some holes. So I think what I'm gonna try and do is with the jigsaw, like that, maybe a bit more central here, and then I can use this table a lot more effectively. I don't know if you can see, but here's my little drawing. So the idea is we cut that out of the table, and then the table becomes a perfect place to do all this drilling, because I can clamp stuff. I have no idea about drilling a curve like this, so maybe I'll do 2, see what happens. Maybe now I can just go straight. I'll add a bit of a curve. It's like an artistic piece, it's not a straight, it's not a box, and it's not a curve. This has essence, essence. There's the piece. Yeah, that's a perfect shape for a shelf or something. And you know what? I could always glue it back in if I needed, or it could even have like some kind of clasps or something. Oh, I don't know. I'm quite happy. Right. To check if this is fit for purpose, we have the place we're going to cut here. Now we clamp here, and we clamp on this side. And now we can just drill straight through. I don't know whether this has just been a stroke of genius or something really stupid. Let's try it. So now we're doubling up on our anti-splintering techniques. I'm also going to do this tape thing. Let's see if that keeps the fibers together. I haven't got my jig for my straight line. Should probably jig it. Right, jig's in perfectly the right place. Hey, these clamps are great. Amazon Basics, but I don't think it's the clamps specifically. I think it's having them. These are probably the shittiest ones there are. Lines up. Right, let's try this. That wasn't great. You know what? It's actually worse than it was before. All that splintering. So that was useless. But I still like this idea. I don't think it's... Now, in theory, these are supposed to be the same length. But when I line them up at the top there, lined up, it's a bit of a difference. I don't know if you can see that. I think it's just because my blade isn't going straight. Like, I can see on this one, I don't think that would stand up on its own. So maybe it's just a question of sanding it down. This one is about 36 on that side and about 34.4 on that side. Okay, so we're 2 millimeters. Well, I measured and we have, first of all, we got this splitting, but that's fine. I'll deal with that later. They're not quite the same. I mean, it'll be all right, but I was really hoping to get some accuracy. 4.4. I think I'm not gonna bother with the jig because it's not really working on these bits. I'm sure there's some way I'm only gonna be cutting straight lines, so I'm sure there's something I could do so that I could have something here physically all the time, and it would always act as a straight line, and then I just line up with it. But right now, I'm just gonna cut. I'm using the tape method because I think it's better than nothing. And I'm going slower near the end, which seems to help. So let's try freestyling this. There's always that big jump at the end, but that is looking much better than before. And I've actually done it. Have I done it straighter? Yeah, there might be a bit of a curve there. Are you not entertained? Right, we've got rhythm, we've got flow now. We're actually making some progress. So I'm gonna skip the rest of the posts because they're pretty simple now. But with the masking tape and the going really slow at the end, I still get this big crack as it finishes, but this last post was actually my finest yet. I mean, look at that. That's minimal damage. I might keep this one. So very happy with that. And then I've got to do some more, but yeah, we'll skip that bit and I'll be back to you when we're on the next bit. All right, we're doing a quick supply run. This is Alex, the girlfriend. We're going to the Chinese shop, or in the properly name, it's called the Bazaar. But here in Spain, we call them the Chinese shops because they're run by Chinese people. I don't know. It's logical and it makes sense. Everyone calls it that. And well, maybe it's wrong. I don't know. But I'm going to show you around because it's probably one of my favorite shops in the whole world. It's got everything. Let's go. So here we are. This is the Botiga de Regal, and we're going to go inside and see what's going on. So we've essentially got aisles, infinite aisles of everything you could possibly imagine. Like, write down in the comments something you think that they don't have, and I promise you that this shop has it. So what we came here for was actually some screws, which we can find here. So this is like all the section for stuff. But this shop, look, you've even got these lines so that from the checkout, which is way over there, they can point you to where the product is from back there. So they can say, follow the green line. And they say, okay, follow the green line up to 2. And then it's on that row. It goes all the way down there. It's just endless stuff. Like, did you expect? I've got my eyes closed. I'm gonna stop and turn right. Did you think they had? Okay, that's not that exciting. That's a cut, but there's just everything. Pillows. Look how far it just goes on forever. It's incredible. So this is my favourite shop in the world. Literally got everything you ever want. Right, we're back at home. We've got our haul. So we got some long screws, really long screws in case we need those, some more really long ones, and a bracket in case we need that. We also got some wood glue, Especial Madera. That's, I've found out, is to join surfaces. It's to join 2 flat planes together, so it would work well gluing bits like this, like together like that, but it basically doesn't work in any other context. So it's looking good. This is day 1. this is, I've not actually screwed anything in, so if I touch it, it'll fall over. But this is going to be the side that doesn't move, that's fixed to the floor. That's why I've got these layers at the bottom, so that it can strap in to the actual vehicle, and that makes it so that it doesn't count as a bit of furniture attached to the vehicle. There's a load of stupid laws here about that. But yeah, this is good for day one. Tomorrow, hopefully, we should get it done. So I'll see you tomorrow.